So we talk of the tools for resilience. I want to become, so we are convinced that, okay, we have to have a resilient supply chain. So what are the tools for resilience? The first thing is we need to have a tool which can create visibility end to end. Then we're talking of flexibility. So the flexibility means it can take care of any changes happening around. So it's flexible. My demand may change, market may change, my deliveries are not coming, input. So obviously I can't deliver it. So I need to have a flexibility based on the demand and based on. The next thing comes is I need a collaboration. If I want to change and cope up with the flexibility, I want to have visibility, I need to collaborate with complete ecosystem. Ecosystem could be inside stakeholders, it could be outside stakeholders. That collaboration is very important. The next is now how do we build the more resilient supply chain? So we're talking of first thing, identify the vulnerability. What are the changes which could happen around? Vulnerability is transparency. Information is transparent, but tomorrow's systems are down, as it happened to us today. So that transparency also is important and too. Supply chain sustainability. So supply chain is sustainable. Is it environmentally friendly or not? Is it creating more damage to the world? Is it creating more pollution? Is it creating more emission? If it's creating more emissions, so that could also affect it now. Pricing may be vulnerable. So that part also is there around raw material price. Worldwide, we are seeing around, if one disruption happens, the prices of oil goes up. Oil price goes up, something else goes up. It's a chain reaction. So we need to really work it out, the pricing part. And for doing all this data collection, we need technology which can digitalize all the information. If I'm going to do my analytics based on algorithmic manually, I will take ages. But if computer is getting all the information and spot on the real-time basis, it can do quicker. The next thing is conduct risk assessment of key vulnerability. Vulnerability could be of pollution. Vulnerability could be of damage. Earthquake could be there around. Vulnerability could be tsunami. Vulnerability could be the floods. So do I do my risk assessment of what are the potential of them? What is the probability of them? Which are the one vulnerable things which are much more catastrophic? Talk to your supplier network. So we all have a supplier network. But so supplier network, we agree on expectation and metrics. So then the next thing comes up around is use buffer of safety stock. So we have in the past, as I was saying earlier, we believed on JIT, just in time. We wanted to be lean. Now we are saying, guys, okay, it's good to be lean, but we have to be agile also. If I cannot deliver the goods as per the expectation from the supplier, my customers, I may lose customers permanently. So you need to have safety stock. Distribute the physical, if I got 10 or 12 plants around, distribute my physical inventory across multiple locations. Suppose if I'm dealing with also spares, then I need to have physical inventory across different locations. Next thing comes is in the past, we were all the time focusing on single sourcing. The reason was very valid. The single sourcing, I could get the better deal. But now you say, guys, it's okay, good to be one, but we should have some further rationalization to have multi-source. I may have one supplier giving me 70%, another supplier giving me 30%. So one backs out for a reason X or Y, I have some backup. Next thing coming around the near shoring. Earlier, it's okay with the name of globalization, we were looking worldwide. But now people are saying, guys, we need different global hubs. We need a global supply chain hub is fine in the good old days, but now we are looking around regional supply chain hub or something within next close to us. We're also looking for multiple carriers. So business world has changed after the COVID-19 in this way now. Well, one more thing comes around this, which is still important in spite of you are trying to do not one sourcing, you're doing multi-sourcing. Supply chain resilience will be only as good as your supplier relationship, but still relationship, they're not going away. SRM is still very important. Another comes is the future-proofing supply chain. When we're talking of a future-proofing, three key parameters are automate something, which are very basic things. Let's say I've got, like in a working company like Walmart or any company which I've got 30, 40,000 SKUs. And out of the 30,000, 40,000 SKUs, some are routine items. Once they reach the minimum level, automatically purchase order should come. So the purchase order which goes around, long-term arrangement is done with the supplier, so that we can do with the robotic process automation. Assist means if my warehouses, if I can automate. The example which I was quoting earlier, and I have got, let's say, a few companies came to us. This is now within the COVID-19, we have been told to take minimum distance. So I can't have, in the past, I had 15, 20 people in my warehouse. Now I can have only 3 or 4. What do? Should I stop my work? Then the concept of automation came, concept of robotics came, the concept of drones came, the concept of AGV came around. So that helped us a lot. And to support that, the technology like robotics, IoT, sensors, they were also there. One more example I can tell you, one which is still a very good one, again from the Walmart. Walmart used to do their annual audit and used to take them 2 months from one corner to another corner. 10 people, a team of 10 will go, 1 million SKUs. See, 1 million items are there in the warehouse, which is running around maybe 2 miles, from one corner to another corner. People are walking, checking each one. By the time you do the audit, the data has changed. Now, same thing can be done much quicker now. Each item has RFID, sensors are there, and each one is giving information. Drone is moving from one corner to another corner. Within a day, 2 days, you can complete the whole audit. So we need that type of assistance and part. The last is augmentation part. So some of the people, the senior level, are busy in analyzing themselves. So mentally we are trying to think around, what should I do this? Should I do this or not? How do I simulate it? What inventory level I should keep? When should I place the order or not? Whom should I order? If I've got 3 suppliers, whom should I trust on? So that cognitive part, the thinking part, the mental thinking, reasoning, that also can be augmented. So we could have, again, under the name of twin technology, we could augment our thinking process too. Now, matrix part, when we look around uncertainty matrix, so demand is uncertain, supply is uncertain. So it gives you some ideas on how to manage. If your demand is uncertain, on the low side, functional product, simple items, supply uncertain, but again low, stable process, efficient supply chain. Efficient supply chain means your process has to be smarter. That's all. If it is again supplies on the high side uncertain, you have to risk hedging. But if supply is uncertain, demand is also uncertain, we need agile and resilient supply chain. So that's very important now. So in those cases. So agile means, because since I use the word agile, we're talking around simplest term means is ability of the companies to smoothly and profitably respond to the market change. The market changes are happening around. So if it can answer that, then we are agile. And to be agile, you have to be resilient also. Now, supply chain resilience, when we talk around, how does it work? First thing is to create the plan. All the components, let's say in my service sector or manufacturing sector, whatever you are, whichever company you work, I'm dealing with around 10,000 type of items. I know who are the suppliers around. I need to plan them out. I need to see which are the one where I've got the risk is much more, which place the risk is less. I need to make a plan. So where do I have to make a good relationship? Where I have to keep the best relationship? All the thing I can do on my plan path. The next is understand and leverage the data. Then I've got the past data. In the past data also I have to leverage around if I want to see the supplier performance. Now the data could be one from in-house and one from outside. You have been dealing with one supplier for the last 10 years. You have got a full faith, full trust. But in the last 2 years, the company's performance might have gone down, which you might be ignoring. Companies, if you look at the market-wise, performance is poor. Financially, they're becoming more like a bankrupt. So that data also has to be pulled up. So it is not your past data alone. What are the market data about the supplier? So understand the leverage of the data around. Diversify suppliers. So in past, we were all the time focusing on rationalizing with one. But now we are saying, guys, it's great to be one, but keep in mind that in case that company fails, then you have to have some backup around. So that's what we talked to diversity. Again, the next, implement capacities and inventory buffers. We talked around it. On how much buffer to be given, you have to see the risk part. You have to simulate it. The mantras, if I say of supply chain mantras, is chaining, efficiency, and low-cost sourcing to resilience. That's the main one. In the good old days, we were all the time focusing on how can we become efficient. Efficiency means outcome versus input. So the ratio was efficient to that. And we were looking at the low-cost country, or this country is low-cost, let me put all my requirement there. But now we are looking at a different parameter. So we are looking at the resilience and resilience. And then we also are trying to reduce the complexity part. If my supply chain is going through 20 players now, and each player is buying from X and Y and Z, it's very complex, uncertain. So can I simplify? Can I look for near shoring? Can I look for near hub for supply chain? That's what we're looking. Move from just in time to just in. I mean, I'm not ignoring JIT now, but still I'm saying, keep in mind JIT, which is a good idea around. And this is what we were told in the 80s and 90s. But now we're saying, just in case it happens, are you ready for that? That's all. So follow the JIT, but also look into GIs. The acceleration of digital transformation is key to all the new way forward. If we want to survive in all these changes around disruption, so digital transformation is the key thing around. The framework which comes around, if I say, visibility is the main focus, as we discussed earlier. Flexibility is another one. Collaboration is the one with all the stakeholders, and control. And controls obviously will come through the supply chain system, digital system. So whatever digital technology you're buying, is it giving you sufficient information on a daily basis? If it's giving predictive analytics, is it giving prescriptive analytics? So those prescriptive analytics, you could strengthen them up and it can control the whole thing. But keep in mind, behind this all, we need good people, we need good processes around, and we need the right technology. So when it comes to control, the technology is very important around. But behind people, obviously the collaboration. Again, for visibility, we need a good technologies. Flexibility, yes, we need people and the process. It's a combination of all these things around. The benefits, if I look around from efficient, resilient supply chain, efficient operation. In the good old days, when we used to make the prototype, I've seen in 70s, 80s, 90s, normally it will take 1 year to design a prototype. Then we'll test it. Now people don't have a time. Look at the car industry. Every 6 months, new model comes in. Look at your mobile phones. Every 6 months, new model comes in. So the whole prototyping thing can be done by 3D printing. So that 3D printing is a part of my technology to make it resonate. So that means my operation become much faster. If I want to design new model around, if I want to straight say look at molding, then I have to make a mold will say I'll take 6 months. I can't come with a new product. Then I will use 3D printing. I can make a prototype, make my judgment within a month. Yes, this is good. Then full rush on it. Improve productivities. So when we have a resilient the world, means we are having all the best technologies behind it. All industry 4.0 technologies are part of it. It improved my productivity. In the past, I was standing near the machine all the time. Now I don't have to stay in the machine. Machine has IoT, which gives the signals to me in advance. In 10 minutes, my work is going to stop. And then you automatically change the loading part of it. See, productivity goes up. There's a lesser wastage of time. Risk reduction. So the risk part also, because you have more data, you have much more information, the risks are limited around. Now we are moving into the era of disruption. So last 1 year, this word has come very often. The stable era is gone. Now it's the era of disruption. So in the past, we were calling as VUCA. Yes, we use the word more or less volatile. So that VUCA was more on the demand side. The demand may be fluctuating. But now we are learning the supply is also fluctuating. Look at the microchips for the automobile. Who has, in the past, we never heard this, but now we are finding that that is also changing. Supply is also becoming a bottleneck. So the new word which has come around is called BANI. So that is a meaningful logic to replace VUCA. The VUCA came in the Cold War time, and now VUCA has been very prominent. I've gone through during my college every time. But now people are saying, guys, no. This volatile is fine, but now it's become more brittle. You become more anxious. Customers are anxious. They want a new improvements around. You come with a one watch, customers say, no, I want a major change here around. And some supplier come with the new ideas around, so they're restless and want to know what extent. Then the next thing is non-linear. Information is not linear. In the past, we were looking at a cause and effect. If this happens, this will happen. This will be the effect. But that thing has not become totally non-linear now. So the linear concept has gone. Okay, if I do this, this will change. Difficult to comprehend now. So that's the way we are looking around is. So we are moving from VUCA world to BANI world. So this came in 1980s. BANI has come from 2020. It's straight from COVID-19. We are coming into this. So this brittle requires capacity and resilience. If you want comprehensibility, then you need transparencies. If you want non-linearity, then you need context and adaptability. And if you want anxiety, you need empathy and mindfulness. Another thing which is changing the disruption part is because of Industry 4.0. So Industrial Revolution, which happened in 1, 2, 3. One was in 1764. Industrial Revolution 2, which was in 1870. Then Industrial Revolution 3, which was in 1969. Industrial Revolution 4, which is today. So now we are looking around is, it has created, the 4 mean if you can look around, there's a Wi-Fi connect. Every man and machine, they're all connected. In 69, when we came Industry 3.0, we were only talking of computerization. We have CNC machine, machines could program and work. But today we are saying the machines and human beings are all connected. I have a factory of, let's say, 100 machines. All data of the machines can come to my dashboard. When the production is going to stop, if any machine is a problem, that data will come to me. So that cyber physical system has come. The cyber physical system which connects everybody. And how it is happening is because of Internet of Things. Each and everything, even your own air conditioner at home, you can put an IoT. You might be driving, You can switch it off from there. From your office, you can make it on. So IoT is the one which is connecting all the equipments to the one system. And IoT is creating much more data also. So Industry 4 has made us much more smarter. The word smarter has come around. When we say smart supply chain, we're talking of 4.0. So the word digital supply chain is nothing but we're talking of smart supply chain. Procurement also has become procurement 4.0. If you're using digital tools around, it becomes smart procurement. So the data is a base of. I remember when I implemented ERP in 2005 from all country offices, around 170 country offices. My interest was the data part. I'm talking 2005. So data was the key thing around. Then from data, we became so much enormous data, it became a big game. And then data was the problem. We were not able to pull the data from the system to analyze. But now I think tools are there available around. So I can do with machine learning and then artificial intelligence, I can. So data to me is a dumb. But if I organize the data, it becomes information. But information also is still not very relevant until I convert the information into analytics. So the analytics helps me to get the knowledge. And if those knowledge which I get around, if I can prescribe the solution through artificial intelligence, it becomes actionable and become wisdom. So Industry 4.0. So when I use the word Industry 4.0, I'm talking of the technologies of Industry 4.0. So those technologies are also becoming disruptive. So one company using those technologies, other one is not using it. So the one who's not using is getting disrupted because the next company has used it enough. So this also become a disruptive for us. So the type of technology which are coming around here, I'm just skipping a few things. So the government of India is also moving in a big way in the digital India programs. So that means from the past, if we want to move to the future, it's a complete paradigm shift. So this paradigm shift is because of disruption. And these disruptions are not one time, they're bound to happen. We always thought that after COVID-19, I can go back to the old norm. No chance. Then we had another one, Ukraine one. Then there is something else coming around. So this means paradigm shift is required to move from the past to the future, to manage this. We will not wait in the future, guys. Let this happen and then I'll look into the solution. So the future is coming into that, and future is all about digital transformation. So if we want to manage the future, we want to manage the disruptions. So there's a need for digitization. So I might be repeating the word again, end-to-end visibility we require. The demand-driven supply chain. In the good old days, I remember when we used to have sales data, guys, this year we're going to make 4 million cars. Are we going to make so much of production? And hardly any changes will happen. At the end of the year, we'll have some extra inventory or less inventory. But now the demand is changing so fast. Because we are working for one company in Pune. So they are also they're dealing with the food item. Every month the demand changes. Sales come with the X demand, and by the time you're placing an order, the next thing comes, oh, this customer has left us. Customer doesn't need so much. They need more of this, less of this. So that means we have to improve the accuracy of the demand. In the past, we never had demand managers. Now companies are hiring people as director demand. Their job is to identify what is accurate. It is not what sales data has come to be. So sales data is not sufficient. So we need people who can do accuracy of the demand set. Establishing this, if you talk of Apple, you talk of any big companies around in the US, they have the director's demand. They work with supply chain planning, but they don't have a full faith on what sales tell them. They do their own demand. establishing this digital thread between supplier and your organizing customer. So you're connecting them, all of them. Managing customer expectations. And last but not the least is supply chain cyber. You're becoming too digital. So when we become digital, are we prone to hacking? Are we prone to some cyber risk around? So that problem is also coming around. But that blockchain is becoming visible now. So the people are moving towards blockchain if that could help us to cut down those cyber risks. Okay, guys. Now the whole digital transformation is becoming a game changer. If you want to survive, there are two ways to do it. One could say, guys, I don't care. You could become stagnant. Other side could be that if you don't want to be stagnant and you want to survive, then you have to change. I know the cost of changing is also very high. So when we're talking on digital transformation, it do come with a risk. It is not that, okay, cost also very high. Cost has gone down because now you can use them through the clouds, pay them based on the users. And you don't have to jump in a big steps around. You could do with baby step first. So the main thing is collaborate first, automate the process around, analyze the information. So when we talk of digital transformation, it creates the ability to quickly and easily adopt to the real. The real world is changing. Today, what we call as the real world, after 6 months, if I'm dealing with, let's say, a pharma item, or I'm dealing with the service industries, they're also changing. 3 months back, IT sector was doing with a big boom, hiring too many people, buying too much of indirect procurement. And suddenly we find now it is shrinking. So that means we have to be flexible. So when we say the word real world means flexible, that's what we do. Now the technology which are used very often for this digital technologies, first thing is artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence gives me insights. I have a data. I want to see, okay, who are the key suppliers today? Which are the suppliers whose performance is poor? Earlier, it used to take me ages. Actually, I did it in 2008. So we had around 20,000 suppliers. And we have rated the best supplier mean 5 out of 5. Medium mean 3 out of 5. And we took 5 parameters for that. Price variation, delivery variations, quality variations, and last was after sales service. And all those parameters were done by computers based on some characteristics. And I could straightway say one line, guys, can you give me the list of suppliers whose performance is less than 3 out of 5? So those which are less than 3, it will automatically create emails to all the suppliers who had the performance last year was so much. Please justify why. How can we work together? So artificial intelligence gives you insights. Machine learning is the one where I do some algorithmic, and those algorithmic, it studies around, it looks around the parameters. It can tell me, Krishan, you are failing problem on this side. With this type of material, you're failing it. On this side, you're okay. So if I've got 40 type of items, so they can give me the parameters, they can give me the trends, they can do that. IoT, industrial, again, Internet of Things around. They are basically with the help of sensors like RFIDs and all these things around. I can, if my goods are going, so IoT is there around to connect with, the system is there to connect with the clouds. Sensors are there on the container. Each and every information, whether the time, temperature, humidity, if it's coming in medical supplies, it can give all the information of humidity, how much is the temperature inside the container. I don't have to depend on the carrier. Carrier can play around with the game. Carrier can give me wrong information, but my data which I'm getting through the clouds is more perfect. The data has become so big, to manage it certainly we need a big data around. Additive 3D printing. This I've seen many companies using it around. I remember one airline company in India, impeller was down, and they went to the parent company and they said, guys, this will take 3 weeks. You can imagine around an aeroplane of $500 million waiting for 3 weeks? No chance. So then they went for 3D printing. Within 24 hours, they have the plan. So you give me any part around, I can do with computer-aided design, I can scan it, do the designing part, and then reproduce to 3D printing. So 3D printing is also picking up in many countries. Robots and autonomous things around. Certainly robotic things are there, particularly in the warehouses, or even in the placing of orders, robotic process automation, smart contract. Now the word smart contract comes from the blockchain. So I'll touch a little bit on this thing there. Broadly, what we have done around this, Gartner has done, the core technologies are these, the one which are maturing and the one which are emerging. So these core, which I'm sure many of you already have, contract management, electronic e-catalogs, e-sourcing, spend analytics, e-procurement, e-invoicing, everything is becoming electronic. So that means you don't have silos, it's end-to-end connect. So this core is already, in India, many companies are picking up in this direction, but this one is still very few. Robotic, 3D printing, crowdsourcing, visualization, predictive and advanced analytics around. Predictive is based on the past data. Advanced analytics means prescriptive, which can prescribe to you what to do and what not to do. So cognitive is also coming around. So cognitive is becoming like the way we are seeing in the icon. It thinks like a brain, it's a mental system. And emerging technologies are blockchain, sensors, cyber tracking, virtual reality. The word digital, digitizations, and digitalization and transformation. So when I go further into digital transformation, keep in mind, digitization is the most easiest one. In the good old days, we had purchase orders, we had invoices. They were all hard copies. I could scan them and convert them into digital. But digitalization, by nature, it is digital. I don't have to scan it. I send the invoice to you, it goes as a digital thing. You don't have to make a hard copy and print it and then scan it. So that means by nature it is digital. It cuts down the process time. It makes it more efficient. And in India, I think all companies whose turnover is more than 50 crores, e-invoicing has become very popular. So you don't have to send to accounts, to procurement guys, here is my invoice. And then they'll say invoice has not reached, it's not readable. No, it goes digital. Transformation means you might be doing bits and pieces, activities, digital transformation, like payment was done. But when we talk of transformation, we're talking about totality, the complete procurement, complete logistics, our complete supply chain. So that's what we're talking about digital transformation. Traditionally, the supply chain is very linear. There's a supplier, there's a producer, there's a distributor, retailer. Every information goes in a straight line. So information of supplier is only at this place. So complete information is not available. Retailer does not know when the production will start. Distributor also doesn't know when the supply will come. So as a whole, they're all silos. They're all independent islands. Production guy does not know when the product material is going to come. Only procurement guy knows. And sometimes procurement guys also may not know it because it is coming from tier 2 supplier. And tier 2 is not given the complete information to tier 1. So everywhere is a segment. So when we talk about digital mean, we are connecting the complete ecosystem. So in this case, it's a very limited visibility. So we want to have end-to-end visibility. But now to have improve the visibility, which is the first requirement of digital transformation, we're talking about control tower. Look at that. The word comes control tower from again, airline industries, airport. You have a control tower. Thousands of planes are coming and going. But control tower has information of all. Who has landed, who is going out, what problems are happening around, who could collide with whom. Complete information is there. So that's the word we use, the control tower. And control tower doesn't mean that we're putting something like that. It is more connecting with everyone. So it gives you real-time links between different supply chain elements. So your supply chain elements could be procurement, logistics, warehousing, inventory management, customers, suppliers. All those elements are connected. So those elements which are connected, then the information is available at one place. And that's what we're calling as the control tower. So here comes using advanced data analytics, alerting stakeholders, driving end-to-end supply chain planning. So if I show you the next slides around, it shows you that all are connected. Purchase order status, if I want to know, the complete data is there around. Docs, what are the status around? Shipping status is there, warehousing status is there, transportation is there around, real-time basis. Store also real-time stock visibility. Not that the stock was so much, actually so. Sometimes the computer will show 50 pieces, actually you go and check maybe 40. So that gives you, because I got IoT there around, each and every information comes. So last is customers, online store, demand, and delivery time. If the delivery part is not reaching there, or even the guys changing the demand, every information is there. So the demand part, supply part, warehousing, inventory, all the components of supply chains are covered. So that's what we call the control tower operation. So same story, the network and ecosystems. So what does it do? Here we have a manual data gather. I'm sure many of you must be calling all the time, oh, what happened to this? When is this happening around? Sometimes supplier also won't know. They will tell you, sir, don't worry, we'll give you in 1 week. But technically, supplier is having a problem. They're buying from tier 2. And tier 2 is buying from a raw material with the company number 5. So sometimes there could be a communication gap. But now we're getting real-time connection. Manual collaboration. So the collaboration was say, guys, can we meet together today? No. You have digitized the collaboration. So today we are meeting in this workshop, webinar, is all digitized. So the collaboration is also becoming digitized. Manual what-if scenarios we are trying to do is automatic simulation. So when we were saying just in time and just in time, if this happens, I can simulate. In colleges, we were all taught the formulas how to simulate. But that I can do with computers in 1 hour, half an hour. It gives me the complete information. Once I put the parameters, it gives me the answer. So here is becoming a continuous event driven. If one event comes around, it changes the parameters. Here I have to put the data and then I get the plan. So it's becoming much more automated. Procurement part also, I just want to touch on a little bit. You have MR, why I'm touching, because it's also part of the supply chain. If you look back, many of you have ERP. But ERP is still 3 islands. E-procurement is still missing in many of you. I can say 60–70% India still don't have e-procurement. Electronic procurement end-to-end. And once you get electronic procurement, then you have a data. And once you have a data, then you can go into digital world, procurement 4.0. So procurement 4.0 is a part of supply chain 4.0. So this is where I thought, let me touch on this part. If we talk of ERP, ERP is not a solution to address procurement and supply chain pain areas. It's a wonderful tool. I have implemented it, so I confidently can say it's a wonderful tool to connect the enterprise, the different systems of enterprise. Very good for finance, very good for sales, everybody, human resource, it connects everyone. But when we look on the supply chain and procurement side, we need much more connectivity with Stakeholders. My stakeholders' ideas are changing. Stakeholders could be my customers. Stakeholders could be my outside suppliers. I need that connection, which in practical sense, you will not allow in your ERP because ERP is enterprise system. So connecting them may be different. So you may have to have a different system. If that system could be integrated with ERP for second count, that makes it change. So this is the way survey was done by our headquarters around ISM USA. So they found that the new best friend of the supply chain is analytics. Same is true for procurement also. But the big barrier is this one. So there were process efficiency improvements around. Then they're looking at the management reporting around. So they are the different, which are the best things. So for cost optimization, people are saying we need, but then we need a quality of data. Still the barriers are. So you can see in this chain, the key barrier is quality of data. We don't have taxonomy, procurement taxonomy. We don't have proper coding system. We are using general ledger code sometimes. So we don't have the right quality of the data around. For some small company, it works no issues. For big companies who have got 40, 50,000 items, they need the right coding system. Lack of data integration. Skills are to be there around. And technology is certainly there around. So this gives you. So here I didn't want to give on the procurement side because one of you said something. Purchase requisition visibility about purchase request, instant update due to changes. That is fine. Purchase order is another one. Purchase invoice. But between requisition and order, whole sourcing part is missing. That may be appearing in your emails, but it's not on the dashboard. It's not on the platform. So to have this, you need e-procurement, which connects from here to integration. So you need to have seamless connection end to end, where you could do the vendor management also. So in short, if I have to say around digital transformation, no longer optional, it's a must. That's what we do. The impediments for digital transformation is the culture of the company, process, and technology. Behind this, I would say this is change management. I remember when 2000, before 2005, when we didn't have ERP, everybody was complaining, Krishan, we don't have ERP, we don't have a technology, we don't have this. So when we brought ERP after spending $70 million, people were still complaining. So this is too difficult. Our hands are tight now. We are not flexible. Obviously, when technology comes, the flexibility of changes are gone. So finally, again, I had to take up with them. I had to train them around. I've traveled a lot in that time. I think most of the countries I went around. So when we trained them, then they started liking. Otherwise, some people feel that then those who are in the older age, they were avoiding, they thought with the technology, my job will go away. So once we trained them, they found the usefulness of it, it worked. So the benefit is happier users once you bring technology in a proper way. And technology has to be driven not by the consultants, by your own team. Removal of tedious tasks. So before you bring technologies, if you've got bad processes, so don't put money on a bad processes. So please change your processes, improve it much more friendly, then bring the technology. Otherwise, if I've got bad processes, I've got 20 steps to do a job, cut down from 20 to 5, then bring technologies. Otherwise, it's not going to help you. On a bad process, you bring on top of it a technology, is going to make it more complex. Significant return on investments, better decision making, improved agility, cut costs. So selecting the tools for digitizations. So first thing is we need sensor tracking, we need robot process automation, we need data and text now. So whatever doing digitization, first thing is you need to have captured the data. So you have the whole mining of the data is available. So that data, once it is clean, half the job is done. Then your business intelligence can take over. So I would say anyone of you are planning for digitalization, first capture data. Second, we could have sensor tracking. Third, I could say robot process automation. Smart contract, I will do the last. The most important technology is the big data, automation of some of the activities around, artificial intelligence, and robot. Big data, I'm sure many of you who are having ERP, they already have the data. Or if you have got e-procurement, you have the data. You have e-logistics, you have the data. Or your warehousing, everything is electronic. So you have the data. Because the data mean I'm looking at the dashboard, not on a spreadsheet. Now keep in mind when the transformation we talk around is first the data comes through IoT, Internet of Things. My goods are lying all over the world. Each goods have RFID. Each has a sensor. Each sensor is connected through IoT, Internet of Things, to the clouds. So complete data information is available. So that IoT is creating a data. And now I can do machine learning, deep learning, AIs. Then I can do it. And once I reach this, the next step could be blockchain. The blockchain, I think, is still far off. Some people are doing, IBM is doing quite a lot. And AI is a next step. Look at the use of IoT. The container is coming from New Jersey, coming to Nairobi. On the way, you can see the containers are so many, and you want to see what is the temperature. It's a medical supplies. You want to see the temperature, you want to see the humidity. Complete information is available to you on real-time basis. Now here I want to give you some clarity about RP. IoT is just like your eyes. The God has created us. We have the eyes, we have the brain, we have the hands, legs. So IoT is nothing but which is collecting information through your ears and eyes. So all the data is going to the head. And the brain is trying to rationalize it. Brain is going to mesmerize it, guys. Okay, what should I do? What risk is there? If somebody is chasing me at the back, my robotic process automation, this brain tells my hand, please lift your hand, protect yourself. Same case we do it in production. So I have IoTs. Let's say I got 20,000 varieties of item in my warehouse. And I kept the minimum level of each ones. And that information comes automatically to the system. If this information through IoT comes around, I've got 10 pieces here, 5 pieces there, and my minimum level is 15. My brain means my system has a brain, which says, guys, you have to place an order. Price is already fixed, supplier is already fixed. That is what we call our. So which we were depending on human being. It's not the human beings are not required. The human being becomes much more strategic. Earlier, we were doing more tactical work, more operational work. If I talk of any companies around where we had 100 people, 60–70% people were operational. 10–15 were tactical. 10 people were strategic. Now we need more strategic people. So in the coming years to come, we will need 60–70 on the strategic level. Operational could be, I could use automation. So that's where the world is moving. So you can say IoT is eyes and ears. For technical terms, it's nothing but real-time data collection. Their job is to collect data. Even in ERP, you are collecting data, whom it went, but then to pull the data out, you have to program it. It becomes very complex. Which supplier is the one who's delaying it? Which supplier is performing bad? To pull the data from ERP, then you have to go to the IT guy. The guy has to write a program, comes up with some information. But you want on a real-time basis. So solution like barcodes, which we are all conversant, but barcode doesn't have active signals. But RFID could have active signal or passive, but still they're giving signals to you. So I can have the information. Like you might have seen in some of the department stores, there are barcodes, everybody is counting. But if I have RFID, I don't have to count. It can give me signals and I can tell you within few hours, half an hour, guys, okay, this is the stock and this stock is poor. Okay, guys, understanding AI now. So AI is also again in a machine learning first part, which is a subset of AI. You have algorithm, you have formulas. And formulas helps us to detect the patterns. I've got 40 suppliers. Which supplier is performing good? Which supplier is going? Some are at the 5 level, 5 out of 5. Some are at the 2 level, 2 out of 5. So that pattern is coming to me. And based on the pattern, I can go back to the supplier guys. This is not good enough. Natural language processing also nowadays with the mobile phones you have. So you could also have in the system. So instead of typing the question, you could speak it out and then this can answer you because they understand your language. You don't have to type anything. You can say, guys, who are the key suppliers for me? Which of the suppliers' whose performance is bad? Immediately give the list to them. Overview of AIs, I think we touched already around quite a lot. But here it gives you some process driven. You have robotic process automation is a process driven. So it looks at the numbers and then say robotic desktop automation with manual intervention. With digital triggers, the way I was telling you, the placing of orders. But then this comes the next one level in the data. So here I need a process. If this happens, do this. If this happens, do this. Here I'm just going with the data part. So here I could have prescriptive one, I could have deductive one, and then it takes it out. So prescriptive one, which prescribes something, and deductive one, what happens. So you can see the descriptive one provides insights of what is happening. Predictive means it can predict the future. But if I can bring cognitive along with predictive, it can take further action also. So it can simulate further. Which function to digitize first? I would say this question, I think in the beginning, before starting today, I would say walk before you run. Take small activity. Because procurement, if I look at a supply chain as a whole, procurement is a major component. Supply chain, let's say in a company, like in a manufacturing, it may be covering total cost, maybe 80% or 70%. Forget about operation part. So leaving operation part is around 70%. Procurement is a major one. Second is my logistics. Logistics could be around 14%, 15%, depending on my warehousing. So you can imagine around the key component still is procurement. So I think procurement part needs certainly to be digitalized. So walk before you run, and then advise down, sit down and spend time on mapping. Then you look at the supply chain where my problems are. Even on the logistics side, is the problem on the last mile? Is the problem on the first mile? If my vehicles are not being used in the first mile, the waiting time is too much, then I'll work on that, focus on that. If my problem is in the last mile, so normally we say in the transportation, the last mile is a major wastage of time. But if both are planned very well, then possibly we can remap the whole thing around. You could cut the cost. So pick the function to start with that touches the least amount of people. You know how people resist sometimes. So take the function which you feel less number of people are there around. You can convince them the role of digitalization. If your 100 people are involved and they start want to change everything, I know they will resist many. So take bits and pieces and work on it. The blockchain is the one which is coming up in a different way, because today when we're becoming digital means every information is centralized to some extent. Anybody can hack it. Anybody can change it. But now we are moving into the blockchain, which is decentralized, and it's more of an encrypted digital debt. So it's peer-to-peer. So that technology, I think, gives you much more encryptions. It gives you much more proof, chances that less chances of hacking are there. So this is how the blocks are created. Two parties initiate a transaction. Here we have got peer-to-peer connections. Blockchain verifies, it creates a block. So this is how block after blocks are created. And blocks are blocks, they go on putting on top of each other. So if you want to change one, you have to throw all the whole thing. So it's very more like impossible thing. So chances of hacking, data is much more cleaner, data is much more practical. That's the beauty of it all. So if you have a blockchain technologies, then we can think of smart contracts. So Web3, which is coming up. In India also, we have worldwide already Web3 is started coming up. So once we have Web3, then the blockchain technology, you will see more of it. Because when Web1 came, we went into the emails. Web2, we went into the e-commerce. Now Web3 comes around, possibly we will have blockchain and smart contracts now. So smart contract means the contract is a normal, you have seen 10 pages, 15 pages, when to pay payment, what conditions, what this, all those conditions, all those milestones are programmed. So you pre-program them, chain of events, you spell it out. And if things are going as per that, the payment should go. That's what we call the smart contract. So it's to a large extent automated. Steps to simplify digital transformation, create a culture of change. That is very important around. If your organization is very vertical, it can't be. So you have to make it flatter. Any organization which is flatter is much more collaborative. Assess your present state. What are the gaps? What are the strengths and weakness and opportunity for you? The SWOT analysis. Identify areas of potential change, market exploration. Identify a prospective technology vendor. Who are the key technology vendors? There are many now. You don't have to buy the technology. You can take it on a SaaS basis. Build your case for budget, depending on the budget, what you have. Put together your dream team. So run it to show it. You need to have a dream team. Who will be the drivers of change? Who are able to motivate others. So that's equally important to that. So the benefits of supply chain 4 will be lower cost, better risk management, improved visibility, and tighter compliance. So what we started with, all are being addressed to that. Now here comes the last thing, which I'm taking from Quarter's 8-step change model. Change is the change. And change is a must. There's no second thought. Digital transformation is a must. There's no second thought about it. But can be uphill better. If you are the boss, you're trying to lead the show. And Woodrow Wilson once said, if you want to make enemies, try to change something. Change means a particular digital transformation. First, try to motivate people. So this is what the 8 steps are there around. Create urgency, create a coalition, develop a vision and a strategy, communicate the vision. That vision should be told to the whole team who are affected. Empower action. That means you need the blessing from the top. If they are not supporting you, forget about change. You can't do change of your own. You need the support from the bosses. Get quick wins, but take simple steps. Don't take a difficult step and then people will say, oh, we told you this and you still didn't listen to us. So do a small change in bits and pieces, like a baby step. Once you feel the results are good, then go for the next. Because the success and failure, if I talk of a technology, in the last few years, whichever has happened, success was around 60%, 40% was a failure. So that one should not forget about. Final thoughts. If I had to say around ultimately supply chain is about more than supplying goods and services. It relies on strategic planning and careful observation. It's a vital part of the business. And digital transformations are sweeping all the sectors of the economy. So it's not only one sector, All the sector is coming up. The quote I would put around is the digital supply chain has the potential to completely change the process to add value. Value to the customer, who are our key important thing for us for success. However, do your diligence before rushing in. This is a beautiful subject, but before you run into this, do your diligence. So don't live on only consulting companies, because they will give the same size to all. Same dress will not work for everybody. Every company is different. Every company has a different needs. So you have to do the due diligence. Well, guys, this goes on changes wise. So with this, I want to thank you all for the patience.